the last 20 years have got the same go on whack another season factor as Friends does, as it's packed with layered gags, hidden references, and of course, the odd mistake along the way. Rewatching the program for the 50th time on DVD or Netflix, there are sight gags, continuity errors, and so much more that you probably haven't even noticed, no matter how many times you've watched it. So let's share some of our findings with the class today. With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 things that you might have totally missed in Friends. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding! Ding, done. Number 10, the one that's mad about you. In the one with two parts, part 1, Helen Hunt and Layla Kenzie make cameos as customers in Central Perk, where they mistake Phoebe for her sister Ursula. At the time, Hunt and Kenzie starred on another NBC series, Mad About You, and were appearing in character in Friends. The reason that they thought Phoebe was Ursula is because she works as a waitress in Riffs, which is a popular restaurant in their show, and is also played by Lisa Kudrow. In fact, Kudrow was playing Ursula before she was playing Phoebe, as Mad About You started in 1992, and that's the reason that they made Phoebe's character a twin. Characters from Seinfeld have also visited Riffs, meaning that all three shows are actually in the same universe. Isn't that brilliant? Number 9, the one where Giovanni Ribisi appeared twice. Giovanni Ribisi has developed a reputation as an excellent character actor over the last 10 to 15 years, but to many, his best-known role is probably that of Frank Jr., Phoebe's younger brother. He appeared in 8 episodes in total as the character, starting in the one with the bullies and making his last appearance 7 years later in the one where Ross is fine. However, before he'd actually shown up as Frank Jr., he'd already made one appearance on the show, as an extra who drops a condom in Phoebe's guitar case, and then later goes back to retrieve it, wonderfully credited as Condom Boy on IMDb. You could theorize that this was actually Frank Jr. back then, as the two wouldn't have actually known each other, but when he and Phoebe do actually meet, he tells her that it's his first time in New York. Number 8, the one with all the Arquettes. The Friends opening credits have changed plenty throughout the years, and have been updated with different scenes as the show progressed through the seasons. The one thing that didn't change was the names of the 6 friends, with the exception of Courtney Cox marrying David Arquette back in 1999. The first episode to air after that was the one after Vegas, the premiere of season 6, and the first where Cox went by the name Courtney Cox Arquette. The episode was dedicated to the couple, and the opening credits include a nice little tribute. Hers is the first name to appear, and after all of that, all other actors have the name Arquette added to them. It also includes the dedication for Courtney and David, who did get married, a reference to Monica and Chandler not tying the knot during that episode. Number 7, the one with the doodle. There were many things in Joey and Chandler's apartment that became key props for the show, such as the chairs, entertainment unit, and Pat the dog. One of the best, though, is the little sight gag often seen in the background, the Magna Doodle on the door. It was actually the job of the crew to draw these doodles, and largely fell to a man on the electric crew by the name of Paul Swain. He drew the majority of the doodles seen throughout the show, although he's never credited for it. Well, you know what? Here's your credit, Paul. The first doodle to appear said, "Joey, call your dad," and the last one was a picture of a volcano, and it actually did play an important part in the one with mac and cheese, as Chandler didn't probably write down the message for Joey to let him know about the audition. Number 6, the one with the 2 belts. There have been many memorable guest stars throughout all 10 seasons of Friends, and one of the best was Gary Oldman, who appeared in the episodes with Monica and Chandler's wedding. As he gets increasingly drunk, one of the sentences that he manages to just about slur out is that he's wearing 2 belts. It's just a throwaway line used to help just show how intoxicated he really is. However, perhaps the writers were intoxicated too, as the joke is repeated a couple of seasons later in the one with the fertility test. Joey is talking about not wanting to seem stupid to Charlie, to which Ross responds, "Are you wearing 2 belts?" The inspiration for the joke seems to have been Kevin S. Bright, a producer on the show who once turned up to work wearing, yep, you guessed it, 8 socks. No, of course it's 2 belts. Number 5, the one with Rachel's surname. Chances are, if you were to write down the full name of Rachel, you'd spell her surname Green. Hell, even if you Google her, that's the suggestion you get. And it's what she's listed under on everything from IMDb to the character's own Wikipedia page. So it's open and shut, right? Well, the only problem is that that's not actually how you spell her name. When she's working at Ralph Lauren, you see a shot of her door and her surname is actually spelled Greene. Now, of course, the people putting the sign on the door could have just made an error, but there is further evidence. When Ross is sending Rachel the invitation to his and Emily's wedding, he addresses it to Miss Rachel Green with an E. It's unlikely that Ross, who has been in love with her since they were teenagers and one of her closest friends, wouldn't know how to spell her name. This time, Google, you're wrong. Number 4, the one with the moving apartments. Monica's apartment is well known as being number 20, but it was quite different back when it first started. Back at the beginning of the series, it was shown that she actually lived in apartment 5. The producers changed it when they realized their error of 5 not being high enough in the building. Subsequently, Joey and Chandler's apartment was also changed from number 4 to number 19. However, that wasn't the last of the notable changes for the apartment numbers. In a flashback scene that takes place before the series starts, it shows that Monica's door is open once again, and it still has the number 20 on it when it should really be number 5. Similarly, Ross moves to apartment 3, but this disappears off the door in subsequent episodes. Meanwhile, at the end of the show, the characters discuss how they've all lived in Monica's apartment. However, what's not mentioned is the fact they've actually all lived in Joey's as well. Number 3, the one where no one knows their age. All of the friends start the series in their mid-20s, but what are their exact ages? It's actually a bit of a confusing one. It's initially believed that Joey is the youngest, but then in later seasons it's revealed that he lost an entire year when counting his age, which made Rachel the youngest. In the pilot episode, Ross is 26, with Monica supposedly a couple of years younger, but just a few episodes later she states that she is 26, which is obviously impossible. Ross says he's 29 in season 3, which fits with the timeline, but then does it again in season 4 and season 5, meaning that he's 29 for a very long time. Phoebe, another character who has a missing year revealed, is actually the eldest of the friends, followed by Ross and Chandler, then Joey, Monica, and finally Rachel as the youngest. Number 2, the one where Monica and Rachel were replaced. Since they're the stars of the show and all, you'd probably notice if one of the lead actors was replaced in an episode, right? Well, it happened twice, and it wasn't until the show started streaming that anyone realized. In season 8, the one with Rachel's date, Monica and Phoebe are having a conversation on a sofa in Central Perk. When the camera cuts back to Phoebe, we can see a woman who is clearly not Courtney Cox in Monica's place. The same thing happened in season 9 with the one with the mugging. One moment, Rachel is stood next to Joey, the camera pans away, and when it comes back, Jennifer Aniston has been replaced by a completely different person. They're not even wearing the same shirt, for goodness sake. The reason that no one spotted it at the time was because the aspect ratio used to have it cropped out, but when it moved to Netflix, the error became visible. And number 1, the one with the reserved sign. With the exception of a couple of episodes where they find another group sitting there or it's taken by the bullies, the group always manages to get the same prime spots in Central Perk, the big orange sofa. This could be just attributed to it being a sitcom and they need a regular spot, but it's a pretty busy coffee house and there's never any explanation given as to how exactly they managed to snag the best seats in it. Then, when the show arrived on Netflix, the mystery was finally solved. There's a reserved sign placed on the table, which means that it was always held back for the friends. It's a huge piece of evidence, but one that passed everybody by for years. While this may be because they were such regular customers, one fan theory does suggest that it was Gunther who reserved the table for them in order to make Rachel happy because of his love for her. Aw, isn't that sweet? Although you could just say that he's doing it because he has a massive creep on her. Let's just go with the positive.